So you want to update your Sony a7S III to the firmware that just got announced today. That's version 2.00 that adds S-Cinetone, but you don't know how to do it. Well, fortunately, this is where Terry Warfield comes to say today. Let's get into it. What up, y'all? Tight shirt Terry Warfield back in the building, and today the shirt is tight. I hope you're having a good day so far. If this is your first time here, a fat welcome to you. And if you're a part of the fam, you're part of the squad, you came back, drop a hashtag fam down below. Now, I'm just gonna cut to the chase. Everybody's been waiting on this S-Cinetone update with the FX3 being announced. Now we got it. So I'm gonna walk through, since I haven't updated mine yet, on how to install the new firmware update on the a7S III. So there's a few things that you need to do this firmware, and also follow these instructions, because if you don't, you might break your camera, and that ain't my fault. But anyways, obviously, you need a Sony a7S III. You need a charged battery with at least 3 notches of battery power. You need a computer, Windows, or Mac. Now, I use Mac, but keep in mind that if you have upgraded your MacBook to Big Sur, you will not be able to upgrade your a7S III without using a workaround. So if you got a Windows computer, you should be straight, but if you're using Mac, just be mindful of that. You need a USB-C cable to connect this thing to the computer. You need to download the firmware, and lastly, you need to have your a7S III in mass storage mode, which it should already be in that mode. Now, on Mac, when you install it, which I'll put the links directly to Sony's website down below, there's a bunch of prompts and all that stuff that you got to go through. So we're going to skip that part because it takes too much time. Let's go ahead and get into updating the Sony a7S III to version 2.00. All right, now before we jump into this, if you like this video so far, please give it a thumbs up. That thumbs up means so much to me. And if you are not subscribed, you like this type of content, go ahead and hit subscribe. Now, hey, you might as well be part of the family, but we got the updater open, right? I got to enter my password again. Hold up. Legit, I've had to enter my password like 40 freaking times. So now that we got the updater going, complete the following procedures to connect the update target camera with the USB cable. Turn on the camera. It is on. Select USB-C connection from setup. Make sure it says mass storage. Ours is already set to that. Connect the camera to the computer with the USB cable. Let's go ahead and plug this bad boy up. All right, camera's plugged up. Number 4 says click the next button when the connection has been made. Okay, now let's see what happens next. Verifying the connection of the camera and computer for this update. All right, so the first thing that you need to do is make sure that your current version right here says 1.01 and the version after update says version 2.00. If you do not see that, you downloaded the wrong file. So make sure that that says that. Let's go ahead and hit next. So what's gonna happen next is you'll see your camera is gonna restart probably a few times while the software update is going, but now it's updating. So it says do not pull the USB cable out or turn off your camera. Also, do not let your computer go to sleep. It doesn't say that on the screen, but don't let your computer go to sleep. If you allow your camera to turn off, the battery to die, or you let your computer go to sleep and your camera end up bricked, it ain't my fault. So this is gonna take about 20 minutes. I'm just gonna let it ride, and then hey, we'll be back. Okay, so while this is updating, I figure I would talk to y'all real quick about what is this update all about, right? What is this S-Cinetone that everybody's so excited about? Well, S-Cinetone is a baked-in LUT that comes in the Sony FX6, FX9, the Sony Venice, and it's a very, very good flattering picture profile that gives you gorgeous skin tones, really good highlight roll-off right out the camera. It's not meant for grading. It's meant to be a deliverable, really good format that you could just send off to a client, or that you don't have to edit that much. So the disadvantage to S-Cinetone is you will lose about 2 stops to dynamic range, which we'll go back to that in 1 second, because Gerald Undone dropped some knowledge that I want to drop on y'all. But this also adds support for setting steady shot to active during recording mode with S and Q frame rates. Note the active setting cannot be selected if the S and Q frame rate is set to 120 FPS or 100 FPS or higher, and this improves the overall stability of the camera. So let's read this tweet from Gerald Undone, because there's a lot of knowledge stuck in this tweet. Shout out to Gerald for dropping this info on it. So for everyone asking about S-Cinetone on the a7S III, the native ISOs are ISO 100 and ISO 2000. So with the ISO 2000, for y'all that don't know, the a7S III has, in my opinion, some built-in dual native ISO capabilities, because anytime that you go 20 times over base ISO value, the a7S III switches circuits or whatever it does, and the image instantly gets cleaner. So those are ISO 100 and ISO 2000. The maximum zebras are 109 And he says to expose naturally but protect your highlights. So we don't need to be exposing to the right. And the dynamic range, as I said, is about 1.5 to 2 stops worse than S-Log 3. So by all means, if you want the most dynamic range, you should still be using S-Log 3. However, if you just want a quick turnaround image that looks good, then S-Cinetone is the way to go. So the last thing I'm gonna do after this camera updates is give you a comparison of what it looks like with no picture profile on the a7S III versus S-Cinetone, and I'm not gonna grade either of them. They'll be right out the camera. Let's see if we're done updating. All right, update is done. That took all of 20 minutes, but one thing I wanna do real quick before I wrap this video up is show you what picture profile off looks like, which is what I typically use for talking head stuff, versus S-Cinetone. Y'all ready? I'm gonna go ahead and flip it. I'm not even gonna cut the recording. We just gonna flip to PP11. This is standard, not color graded on either profile, so this is PP off, which looks really good out the a7S III, by the way. Let's go ahead and move it to PP11 for S-Cinetone, and then y'all can, let me know what you think. Hold up. All right, now again, this is not graded. Now we are at PP11 S-Cinetone. I'm exposed at 0. My white balance, all of that stuff stayed the same. So now I will put them up side by side on the screen, and you can see what it looks like picture profile off versus S-Cinetone, and see if you can spot a difference. Okay, now that you check both of those out, I guess we might as well leave it on S-Cinetone for the rest of the video. I hope this video was valuable to y'all, man. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe if you made it this far, and I think that's all I got. So until next time, peace and chicken grease. I am out, Terry Warfield. Peace!